I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Transitioning to childcare will be challenging, both for your baby and for you as a parent. It is probably the first time that you're going to be away from your baby for an extended period of time. And it's normal to feel anxious to have your baby in the care of another caregiver who is not a family member or someone that you've known for a long time. While it may not be easy, there are ways to make your child's transition into childcare easier, both for them and for you. In this video, I'm going to be sharing 5 tips for preparing your baby for an easier transition to childcare. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Carly, the Daycare Guide. I'm here to answer all of your questions related to the world of childcare and preschool so that your child's experience and your family's experience overall with daycare can be the best one possible. Tip number 1, socialize your baby. From early on in life, allow your baby to be in the care of other people. Allow your baby to have some time in the hands of another caregiver, family member, or friend while you are not there. Maybe go to the grocery store for an hour so that your baby and you can adjust to being apart from each other. If your baby starts childcare and they are only used to being in the care of mom and dad only, they will most likely have a harder time transitioning and getting used to being in the care of someone else whom they've never met before in a different environment. So naturally, they can't help but feel scared in that environment. That's why allowing them to be socialized and be around other adults and caregivers, and even other babies if you're able to, can help ease your child's transition to childcare because they will already be used to being in the hands of other caregivers and being around other people and other babies. Tip number 2 is timing. Consider when is the best time in your baby's life, according to their age and their development, to enroll them into a childcare program. While there's no right or wrong answer, and families choose to enroll their baby in a childcare program at different times based on their comfort level or what is best for their baby or for their family, I usually recommend starting infants younger, around 3 or 4 months. This is because it's important for them to start before the separation anxiety really hits. Usually infants hit separation anxiety at a peak of around 9 months. I've seen infants that start around 8 or 9 months who have a much more difficult time starting in a program than infants who start early on. When infants start at a young age, at 2, 3, or 4 months, it's all they know. They're used to being in the environment, they're used to being in the hands of other caregivers, and we see that their attachment to multiple adults, not only mom and dad, increases, which is a good thing. Now, of course, I'm speaking generally. There are some babies that might start around 7, 8, or 9 months who do just fine transitioning, who are well socialized and have a very easy time adjusting to childcare. This is just based off of my experience of interacting with hundreds and hundreds of babies over the years. So depending on your child's temperament, if you are not comfortable with them starting at such a young age, which some parents are not, you may want to wait until your baby is around a year old or a little bit older, especially if they have severe stranger anxiety or severe separation anxiety. And you'll probably want to socialize them a little bit more, even if it's in your presence or with another family member with other children, to help them adjust to the childcare environment. Tip number 3 is nap time preparation. So, of course, at home, you want your little one to sleep in the perfect environment with the shades down, the lights off, no light in the room, no noise with the white noise maker. However, if that is the environment they're used to sleeping in, when they transition into a childcare program, they're going to experience quite the opposite. They're going to be in a room with lights on or with window light coming through and the lights dimmed. They're going to hear other noises such as other infants babbling. They're going to hear teachers talking. They're going to hear the sound of toys. They're going to hear babies crying. They might hear phones ringing. There's a lot going on. So if they are only used to that dark and perfect sleeping environment, when they transition to childcare, it will make sleeping harder. I've seen babies who are only used to sleeping in that environment. When they start, they have a really, really hard time sleeping in the beginning. And oftentimes they'll get startled or jump out of their sleep and start crying because they're scared. They're not used to that environment. So consider at home helping them adjust to having some background noise or having some light come in the room, even if it's the TV going or you're washing dishes, so that your baby can get used to sleeping with other sights and sounds that are going on. That way, when they start in a childcare program, it's not such a shock to their system when they're trying to nap in that type of environment. I know it sounds scary now, but believe it or not, they do adjust to it and they sleep quite well, especially if they're already used to that environment. And if it's too late and your child is about to start in a program and you were not able to sleep train them in that way, they will get used to it. It might take a little more time, but don't worry too much. Also, make sure you are practicing safe sleep regulations at home. That means nothing else in the crib aside from the crib sheet. I know it sounds heartless, but anything else that can be in the crib, whether it's blankets or sheets or pillows or stuffed animals or a lovey, whatever it may be, it is a safety hazard. It can be a suffocation issue, something can get caught in their throat, something can get caught around their neck. So according to safe sleep regulations, it is best for your infant to sleep with nothing else in the crib except their sheet. Sometimes parents will start their child in a program and say, well, my child cannot sleep without their lovey, or my baby cannot sleep without this blanket. But licensed childcare programs have to practice safe sleep regulations. It's not an option. They have to. They cannot have anything else in the crib aside from the fitted crib sheet. So as you can imagine, if your child is used to the blanket and this and that and the whole 9 yards, they can feel like they're just like alone. They don't have the comfort of their blanket or their other toys with them. It can make falling asleep more difficult. So in an effort to keep the sleeping environment most similar to at home, start your baby from the beginning with nothing in the crib. Maybe a sleep sack if it's cold out, which most licensed childcare centers are able to use as part of Safe Sleep, and that's it. Nothing else in the crib. Then when they adjust to sleeping in a childcare program, it will already be a transition since you're not there, since it's a new environment, but it will ease it because at least the environment in the crib is the same. Tip number 4 is bottle preparation. Make sure if your child is breastfed that they are able to drink from a bottle. Many times I've seen children start, and on day 1, parents bring a bottle with breast milk in it, and it's their baby's first time drinking from a bottle. They don't know how. I've seen infants trying to latch on to the teacher's breast because that's the only way that they know how to eat. You have to train them to be able to eat from the bottle from early on in life. Some families train their baby by taking turns. Mom will feed directly from the breast, and then dad will feed from the bottle or another caregiver. Make sure that your baby has taken a bottle from other caregivers other than mom and dad. I've seen babies who start in programs who do not know how to drink from a bottle, and they literally go all day without eating. They're starving, and then their parent had to come pick them up early because they did not know how to drink from a bottle. So make sure your baby is trained so that he or she will not go hungry. And tip number 5 is starting your baby off with shorter days. If your baby has never been in the care of someone else before, especially for a full day, for a long period of time, it's going to be a long day, not only for your baby, but also for you if you leave them for a full 8 to 10 hour day on day 1. So if you can, try starting off with shorter days and then gradually increasing the length of days. Maybe that's starting off with a 2-hour visit, and then you pick your baby up the next day going to a 4-hour half day, then a 6-hour day, and then gradually increasing to the length of time that they will typically be at the child care center or the family child care. Sometimes parents will call and check in to see how their baby's doing and then make a decision to pick up early or not based on that. If the baby's been crying all morning for a couple hours, on and off, but really isn't happy, is having a hard time transitioning, then you may want to pick them up early. But if you call your childcare provider and they're fine, they're not crying, they're happy and thriving and doing well, then you may want to pick up later than you were planning to, since your baby is adjusting well to the transition. I hope you enjoyed these 5 tips and found them helpful so that your baby's transition into daycare can be a smooth one. Be sure to hit the like button if you found these tips helpful. Let me know what you think of these tips by leaving a comment below in the comment section. And feel free to let me know other topics that you'd like me to discuss or other questions that you have so that I can answer them in a future video. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I wish you all the best in your child's daycare experience.